Planning to visit Ivory Coast? Don't book that trip just yet. So today we are going to talk about things you need to know before visiting Ivory Coast.
I need real ones to stay around. Now who shut me down?
Hi, my name is Tagra, and today I'm going to take you through a few things you should know before visiting Ivory Coast. So grab yourself a pen and a paper and let's get started. Learn French. Especially if you're coming from an English speaking country, you at least need to know the basics. You can't get by in Cote d'Ivoire if you don't even know a little bit of French. So learn the basics, learn greetings. Don't underestimate the language, just learn it, learn it. Of course, you're going to meet people who can speak a little bit of English, but you won't get to meet those people everywhere. So don't entirely depend on that. You need to know at least the basics of French, at least how to ask for directions, greetings, things like that will be so helpful during your visit. If you can't speak French, if you don't know at all French, make sure you have the translation app in your phone so that you can be able to maneuver around. When you go to different places, you can be able to talk with people. I mean, that is how I used to do. So if there are places where it was so hard for me to speak, I just use my translation and that's it.
Il y a réception.
216
Nettoyage. 216. 216. Nettoyage, oui.
So learn some French. Don't underestimate the language. Just learn it. Another thing which you really need to know before visiting Ivory Coast, it's the currency. You need to know the currency. In Cote d'Ivoire, they use West African francs, and you might be confused because the difference between Central African franc and West African franc. So in Cote d'Ivoire, they are using West African franc. So before you visit, you need to know that in case you want to change your money before you arrive in Cote d'Ivoire. And don't plan your entire trip around card payments because there are some places where you can't pay through card or through mobile money. So you basically need cash. So don't forget that part. You need cash to maneuver around at some places. On to another thing which you really need to know, it's the weather. Before you plan your trip to go to Cote d'Ivoire, you need to know the weather. The weather influences your whole trip. So when planning your next trip to Ivory Coast, which I know you are planning since you're watching this video, keep the weather into consideration. Your outfits should depend on the weather. Your everything, where you should go, depends on the weather. Make sure you check the weather before you go and check the weather for the period that you're going to be there because Cote d'Ivoire is so hot, the humidity there is high. So when you pack, it depends on the time you're going to visit. But for example, if you go when it's so hot, pack lightly so that you won't have to have a problem if you carry heavy clothes. Check your weather so that you can plan your clothes and shoes accordingly. The weather here in Abidjan is crazy. Like literally it rains every day, every day, every day. You can even pack boots. You can even pack boots if you're going on a rainy season because the way some places are affected. I have to pass here. There's no other way. Either I cross the road on the other side or I pass here. There's a route. Problem. So now this is where I'm gonna pass. And this brings me to another point. Transport. So before going to Cote d'Ivoire, check on the transport. Know the kind of public transport they use because obviously you're not going to go there and use Ubers every time. You need to know the kind of transport they use. Like in Cote d'Ivoire, they use Baka, they use Sotrabas, they use Warren, and they use taxis. So before you go there, look into that and expect the rain because the heavy rains, it leads to a lot of water accumulating on the road, and this will influence your moving around. before visiting, have an idea of how the transport is. Don't expect to go there and then you say, I'm going to figure it out when I arrive. No, you can just check online and see how the transport is before you arrive there so that you are familiar with how things are in Cote d'Ivoire. Another point you should consider before visiting Ivory Coast is choosing where you stay. Don't simply choose a place based on the appearance, on how it looks online. You can ask yourself this question: is it close to the places I want to visit? Is it close to shops and supermarkets? Is transport easily accessible from this point? Will I spend most of the time stuck in traffic trying to get somewhere? So those are the questions you have to ask yourself before choosing a place to stay, because you can choose a cheaper place and have a hard time. Sometimes paying slightly more for a convenient location will make your trip much more easier. So, oh my goodness. And this is Cocody. Literally, when it rains, you are forced to just walk on the water because there's poor drainage. And mind you, this is the season of raining. I mean, this is the rainy season. So it's been like this. It's been like this. That is why I'm telling you, you check all those things when you're choosing a place. You choose, how is this place when it rains? How is this place when it doesn't rain? So that when you arrive there, you don't get to experience a difficult time when you visit there. Another point, be ready for the food. Like, don't expect to find things you eat in your country, West Africa.
J'espère que vous allez bien. Aujourd'hui, pour ce déjeuner, on mange de la poisson. It's very good.
And also you can just check online what kind of food they do serve, obviously. And when you go there, try all the different foods that they serve there for a unique experience. Another point, budget more than just the hotel and food. Don't just assume that, okay, I would get by with this. You have to budget slightly more. So before you travel, work out roughly how much you're comfortable spending per day. That way, you can enjoy yourself without constantly worrying about money. And you don't want to be thinking about money and all those things. Just get a rough estimate of how much you are comfortable spending per day. Also useful to have an emergency funds just in case you face some challenges. That brings me to another point. Don't try to see everything at once. The beauty of it is to take your time and get to experience. If you're visiting Cote d'Ivoire only for a few days, don't plan your itinerary moving from one location to another after every few hours. That way you won't enjoy yourself. You need to plan an itinerary where you can move to this point today and then tomorrow to another point, so you don't be rushing to every different location trying to see everything in one day. You can just choose, today I'm going to visit this part of Abidjan. You go there and see this part of Abidjan. Now you say, tomorrow I'm going to visit this other part of Abidjan. When you plan to go to Cote d'Ivoire, to visit Cote d'Ivoire, you need to go there with an open mind. Don't expect everything to be the same way it is at home. You need to expect that this is a new place. Some things will be familiar, some things will not be familiar, but all in all, you are there for the experience, you're there to explore. So try to be flexible and try to have fun while you're at it. Another point, you visit there, respect people's culture. Before visiting there, try to see how people there dress. Bonjour. How their greetings, so that when you arrive there, you'll at least be, comfortable. Those are tips and tricks you need to know before you visit Ivory Coast. That brings me to the end. I hope this video is helpful if you're planning to visit or if you have already visited. Drop your comments and questions in the comment sections, and I hope you have beautiful, nice stay in Ivory Coast, in Cote d'Ivoire. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. I hope you like this video.
I can see the blessings coming our way, yeah, yeah, yeah. Blessings on blessings, yeah.